Donald Trump wants you to be furious about Joe Biden accusing him and his movement of being big meanies. And so he took to the rally stage, I should say, and decided to attack Biden, the Dems, literally everything, while proving Biden right. We'll get to all that, but let's start off with this.
This week, Joe Biden came to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania to give the most vicious, hateful, and divisive speech ever delivered by an American president, vilifying 75 million citizens plus another probably 75 to 150, if we want to be accurate about it, as threats to democracy and as enemies of the state. You're all enemies of the state. He's an enemy of the state. You want to know?
So that turned around quickly. How dare he declare an American enemy of the state? He's an enemy of the state. Oh, I see. Okay, well, look, we could run through any number of different Trump speeches that were actually vicious and deranged, but just really fast, let's be super specific. If it is wrong to declare your political opponents are fascists, why was it that back in August of 2020, right before a presidential election, Donald Trump had this to say about the Democrats?
And replace American freedom with left-wing fascism. Left wing, we're going left wing all the way. Fascists, they are fascists. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them, but they're getting closer and closer. We have to win this election.
Okay, so I'm gonna defend Donald Trump in a couple of different ways. One, he almost evaded responsibility for having called his opponents fascists because he had so much trouble pronouncing it. Fascist. But he eventually got there and he eventually did say it. Although, again, in his defense there, he almost pulled a Biden. He called the Dems fascists. Not all of them, kind of. They're moving there, they're moving the direction. That's sort of like calling them semi-fascists. I would say it's at least a wash at this point. But the bigger issue is that in this rally, Donald Trump proved Biden right. If Biden is making the case that the MAGA wing of the Republican Party is a threat to democracy, that they're deranged and extreme, we'll take a look at just a couple of the excerpts from Donald Trump's speech.
Together we are standing up against some of the most menacing forces, entrenched interests, and vicious opponents our people have ever seen. Despite great outside dangers, our biggest threat remains the sick, sinister, and evil people from within our own country. We are a nation that no longer has a free and fair press. Fake news is all you get, and they are truly the enemy of the people. Sometimes I'll say somebody's smart and the fake news will go, he called President Xi smart. He rules with an iron fist 1.5 billion people. Yeah, I'd say he's smart. Wouldn't you say he's smart?
Look, if we wanted to, we could have had the producers go back through past Trump speeches and show that he's anti-democratic or a threat. But there, he calls the Democrats a bigger threat than anything outside of the country. They're vile, sinister, evil people. He says the media is the enemy of the people. After just saying it's wrong to call people the enemy of the people, he says the media is. And then he points at the particular media covering his actual speech. They're the enemy of the people. And then he speaks about how smart it is to rule a country with an iron fist as an authoritarian leader. So, I don't know, Ben, I feel like maybe Biden was onto something. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, but like this is what's so wild. Is like, look, this has always been the tactic, literally. Like going back even to Hitler himself, right? Pointing fingers and saying, no, they're the real fascists. They're the real fascists. They're the real fascists. I mean, they're fascist movements. They like call themselves socialist, but they're nationalistic socialists. And then it's like, hold up, let's break this down for a second. That's always been their thing. That's always been their thing, is doing this propaganda about, no, the communists are the real fascists. And that's, Joe Biden isn't even a communist, right? Joe Biden isn't even, he's hardly even left wing. Policy by policy, he's closer to Boris Johnson than like any other political world leader. So like, let's first and foremost just operate from a space of reality. But then like literally, let's just take a look at the actions too, right? Republicans last year, just a few months ago, last school year, right before the summer, there was a school that was just trying to punish a student for bullying a trans student, right? That's all the school is trying to do. And Republicans shut it down with bomb threats. Bomb threats. And literally right now, there are Republicans that are sending death threats to children's hospitals just because they're providing like basic health care for trans youth. Right, so that's the reality of what's happening, right? The Republicans are actively encouraging, right? They're doing this stochastic terrorism and trying to like instigate violence against the people that they perceive as their political opponents, right? And so fundamentally, at its core, there's no question about who the fascists are. But much like what happened in Germany in the 30s, because the fascists are running around saying, oh no, the real fascists are over there. The media and anybody who's interested in being like the most insufferable centrist you could imagine is bending over backwards to be like, I don't know, maybe Joe Biden is the real fascist. And like speaking as somebody who is a socialist, yeah, Joe Biden's a pretty extreme right figure. But to say that he's the same as what Donald Trump is doing, that's going a bit far.
Yeah, I would a little bit. Exactly. Yeah, no, and I'm glad that you acknowledge that. Look, having the politicians doing all the insane spreading conspiracy theories and attacking people is bad. But having the broader political movement just choosing individuals as avatars of outgroups to then demonize and bully or attack or potentially kill is worse. By the way, a little bit of a heads up for this time next year, but those two things are going to combine even worse than they already have. I mean, you're used to at this point having Ron DeSantis demonizing the trans community. Donald Trump dipped his toe in that water in a speech like a month ago. He's 100% going to do it. He's not going to allow other right wingers to outflank him on being awful and cruel and violent and threatening. So he is going to start to demonize the trans community much more regularly. So look forward to that coming up soon. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.